Hello, this is Rebirth Legend here with another tutorial guide on Antimage. This is gonna be probably in I'd say the more advanced portion of it. This is gonna be playing from behind and what you want to focus on and do. So we're gonna skip in this to probably 18 minutes in. It's a little too far, and I'll kind of show you what I mean. Man, it's so awkward not having audio sometimes. Alright, so at this point in the game, I've got a battle. Oh, I guess we'll go a little farther. It ain't gonna be very long until we're catastrophically behind. Okay, so let's stop for a second here, and we're gonna talk about. We're about to get Rexed here. So we're gonna stop and we're gonna talk about what led up to this situation. Overall, this Weaver did not get shut down. We had a defensive tri-lane with a Venge and a Treant, and he was out leveling me in the tri-lane. I think one of the other videos looked at the same game. But we're looking, I think I looked at it for, oh yeah, it's in the playing aggressive in your lane video, which is from 4 to 10 minutes. And I talk about how we don't really zone him out. He's even inexperienced, but then when he comes back to lane, I double the creeps that he gets, and I keep him at pretty much no mana the whole time. So he gets kind of beat. I'm getting pretty good farm this game. I think I had like a 15-minute Battle Fury, which looks kind of on par for this. But they would just walk right up mid and they take our racks here. And they're going to be about 15k ahead if I remember right. Or maybe it's only 10. But it's gonna look pretty bad. And a lot of people would be like very despaired at this point. So I guess I should preface this by saying the biggest things you need to turn a fight on Anti-Mage is your level 18 and probably a Manta. That's going to be your biggest tools to actually turn a fight in your favor. So until you have level 18, your Mana Void's really not going to do as much as you need it to do to turn a team fight like that. You can still show up to stuff like skirmishes, but overall I wouldn't try and force this fight without my level 18 Mana Void, unless my whole team was up and it's going okay and they're able to start the fight. But like as is, our clock's doing horrible. It's got really nothing, so maybe he can go in and like interrupt, and maybe I'd be able to go in and attack someone a few times, but I'm gonna get chunked by a Lifestealer and a Shadow Fiend, and if I get chain stunned, like if they stun me into a Mirana Arrow or I luck into a Mirana Arrow, I'm gonna die in seconds. I'm just nowhere near tanky enough at this point in the game to really try and fight here. So I think we just said like fuck it, we're giving it up. But like something important to keep in mind is at this point in the game I'm still confident we're going to win. Like I'm not worried that even though we lost our racks here, I know we're down quite a lot, which is over 10,000. I'm not like oh we're 100%, but I'd still put us in a pretty good place because I'm still on a good path to do this. Or to win this game. So what you want to do is you want to force the enemy. Or I should specify this is a 5-on-5 game. So I do know all my teammates and we are communicating. When you're solo queuing, it's a little harder, and you probably would have to creep cut a little more than I did during this. But it's the same general principles that are going to apply if you're solo queuing. Because I've done this in solo queue too. It's not a big deal. You want to put a real focus on pushing. I hate when it does this. You want to put a real focus on pushing the lanes and forcing people to respawn. Like, that's the biggest thing. Because right now, they have a huge advantage. They probably want to Roshan, which I don't think they do, so they fucked that up. They just want to take this next tower, go for a second set of racks. Like, their mindset should be not to let up the pressure. Like, they're in a huge advantage right now. Like, are they going to be at a bigger comparative advantage? Probably not. What I mean by comparative advantage is like a 20, or let's look at this right now. A 10k net worth advantage right now is worth way more than a 10k advantage 10 minutes from now. Because our relative net worths are going to become closer, right? So like, can I look at a team net worth from this graph? I think I can. Okay, yeah. So they're worth 39k and we're worth 29k, right? So 10k is like basically 33% more net worth. Another 10 minutes goes by, and let's say we both increase our net worth by 15k. So I'll be at 45 and they'll be at 55. Now that 10k is only really a 10% advantage. when it was a 33% advantage 10 minutes prior. So your goal should be to hold that relative advantage. Or their goal should be to punish that relative advantage while they can. And my goal is to make them make suboptimal decisions. And that's the crux of playing Antimage, is that your goal is to always force them into suboptimal decisions by pushing the envelope of a game, right? So I want to be pushing out these lanes super hard, playing in aggressive positions, and force the enemy to TP back to deal with me, creating a situation where your team can jump onto the enemy, or allow me to get a tower, or just stall their push out. Like if their Shadow Fiend has to TP back, that's a huge portion of their net worth that just left that fight, which can enable them to fight a 4v4, or me to TP back and that'd be a 5v4, or just stop their push overall. And all of those are winning conditions, because there is going to be a point where I basically want to stall until I have an Abyssal Blade, and that's where I'm at my strongest point. So I'm going to try and just do player perspective and just try and discuss what my goals here are. So right now I'm still not level 18. I need to get to 18 before this next push, and I need to get off a big mana void. I also want to force them to come to me. I know they're coming to me right now. I knew there was a Weaver. I'm not really scared of a Weaver. I want to stick around here longer. I want them to come up to me, and I want to bait it over. So I try to get them to come a little farther. Don't know how close they came. I don't think it's really relevant in checking their perspective to see how right I was. But I knew at least one person came there to deal with that instead of walking down middle, right? Which is a benefit. I still need to maximize farm, but there needs to also be an emphasis on pushing creep waves. So like here, I want to say, okay, so I wanted to beeline for the jungle. I was thinking about going to creep cup, but I'm like, I need to push their racks, because they're way too far up right now where I need to go and get to a racks. Because I don't have my Manta yet, so this fight's going to get really awkward. There you go, I got one to come back. What did I get? I got a Lifestealer to come back who can't do anything. That enables me to TP home. It's fine. So that enables us to TP back, and we treat Avenge for Mirana, which is a very good thing for us, because any trade in a kill is really good for us, because it stalls out their potential. And I'm in a... Did I die here? Oh yeah, I did. We should go back and talk about this, really. Any trade for us is really beneficial, because it puts like a delay on them, which just draws out the game longer. So I forced one of their richest cores. I forced the Lifestealer back, who's probably the second highest net worth on their team. It's probably pretty close. Let's check it out. Yeah, so he's the second highest net worth on their team. And I'm still behind the Shadow Fiend because of how far ahead that guy was. Yeah, 9-1. Guy's like balling out of control. Shadow Fiend's another kind of awkward hero for Antimage, because he can flash farm before you would have a Battle Fury, because he just needs his raises. So if you're behind against him, it can be hard. He's not a particularly great Shadow Fiend. He's under, I think he's under 5k, maybe like 4,800 or something. And we need to back up. Because they want to focus on ending, he wasn't farming as much, so I was getting like complete free farm. So we initiate here. We probably should have taken that trade and just backed off. I need to go back to here. So I start trying to fight this Lifestealer to maybe like save the tree or something. And like stun, and I just get annihilated. That Shadow Fiend hits so fucking hard at that point. Ridiculous. But there's like a point where he's going to be mitigated. Oh, did he get that Orchid off on me? Yeah, he gets this fucking Orchid. Actually, I think every time I die in this game it's because of that Orchid. Because like I have to jump on and Manta people in fights. Yeah, I really hope I don't have to buy back here. I don't actually recall what happens. Oh. Yeah, so that was probably like a little reckless, and that kind of hurt, because I don't even remember if we killed the Lifestealer there. But even if I kill a Lifestealer, it's not really a worthwhile trade, because the time in between that fight is stuff I'm going to spend way more efficiently. That was huge. I was able to jump on him and just murder him because I finished my Manta style. And another thing is, like, a lot of times people say for buyback, when you're in a game where you're behind and shit needs to happen, you can't afford to save for buyback. But, like, every item Antimage is going to get to his Abyssal Blade probably even to your butterfly, which should be your follow-up item, is going to be very, very important for you mounting a comeback in a game. And the reason for that is because an Abyssal Blade just makes you the biggest threat on the map. Literally no one on their team, once they have an Abyssal Blade, is going to be able to fight against me. Even if 2 of them show up to try and deal with me, I can probably kill, unless it's the Life Stealer and the Shadow Fiend, I can probably kill one of them if 2 of them are there. And I could probably go on them and maybe kill one of them, but it's more risky. Like if I jump the SF and the Life Stealer's there, I can probably still win that. It's just he has a Shadow Blade too, so it makes life a little harder. But yeah, so you don't want to save any gold at this point. I need to get to this Abyssal Blade as fast as possible, and then aggressively split push the map, and then I'm going to be able to get the solo pickoffs. So remember how I said before, you want to force people to TP back? Now when they TP back, you kill them. So instead of taking or allowing your team and you maybe to take the fight to the enemy team who's now out of position, it now allows you to get a pick off and keep going. Now the other team's like, okay, we sent someone back to deal with the Antimage. Oh shit, that person's dead, and I get to go for a Rax. So we see them over in the woods over here. I still need to play kind of safe because I think I'm on buyback right now. No, I'm not on buyback. But yeah, I see him, auto attack him, whatever. So I'm just running away now. So my goal is to try and get this mid lane pushed in, which will open up a little more space on the map. Now I have my Basher. I can kind of luck into kills. Like I can probably kill the Life Stealer, but I'd have real trouble killing the Weaver or the Shadow Fiend without some really lucky bashes. Because generally, like if you just jump Abyssal someone who has like a Shadow Blade or like a Weaver, I'll probably be able to Abyssal them before they respawn, and then I'll be able to probably get another bash while they're Abyssal, so I'll probably get about 3, maybe 3.5 seconds of stun. This is about a 1.8 second stun. Oh no, it's only 1.4. Oh, my life's a lie. The full Abyssal is 2 seconds, so I can probably get about 3 seconds of stun, depending on how lucky I am. And then, right before the stun wears out, I just blow them up with the Mana Void, because 3 seconds of AM and his illusions hitting on you, it's going to do a lot of damage. So right now I know the SF is top, and it's almost impossible for them to kill me without the Shadow Fiend. Unless I eat an arrow like an idiot, and I almost die here. I felt bad for my Venge, but she did her job. So that was a little reckless. I really, really wanted that tower to go down, because that opens up the map a lot more and makes their life a little more difficult. And, you know, it costs us a life, so that's a little mistake in the late game. But like I said, you really want to focus on just delaying them. So you've noticed they've had to, like, run around, and they actually haven't really gotten to our tier 3s yet. Ever since they took the first Rax. So every time you just want to delay it for as much as possible. So I see them pushing bottom, I'm going straight for the next one. I blink forward, I'm going to kill her. See, they did this thing where they think... Oh, I got it, okay. They did that thing where they think... That was the point where they thought one person can discourage me, right? And that's going to happen a lot against Antimage, because a lot of the other times, up until that point, they would TP a person back, I would leave, right? This time you TP'd a person back, I killed them. And then they have to TP back a second person, right? Because now they sent back the Ogre as well. And truthfully, I probably could have killed the Ogre, but I wanted to get back to this. And I saw another TP, and I know, hey, my team's going to have an advantage. And realistically, if you're communicating with your team well, as soon as that TP starts going back, they should be running at the enemy team and starting a fight. Particularly if it's 2 TPs, and now they can be in a 4 or 5 on 3. They have to go, because that's a huge amount of their CC that just left. So I'm able to get a pick off there, TP back, and this Life Stealer's dead. Fucking piece of shit, Invoker. Tornado and the person I just bashed. Or did I bash him? No, there's another time where he tornadoes someone I think I Abyssalled. But at that point, it doesn't even matter. Yeah, so now I basically have the full Abyssal. And notice, I haven't been saving for buyback. Like, I just coincidentally have buyback, but I'm not going to save for buyback here. We're probably just getting even now. No, we're 15k down. It got even worse. It's amazing. So now I have the full Abyssal. Literally no one on the map is safe. This is the point where it's like, where I went from, I have a decent shot this game to, I'm most likely going to win this game now. Because now I'm at the net worth advantage, my Invoker is caught up, we've delayed the game substantially, and every single hero on the enemy team is going to die if I go on them. Except maybe a Weaver. And that's if he... Man, I can still kill the Weaver if I get really lucky with a bash, honestly. Because if he goes invis, if I bash him and he goes invis, or I bash him in his fade time, he's not going to be able to get as far. So if I can somehow see him after he comes out of invis and I'm able to blink on him again, I'll kill him. What's up?
It's like 100 degrees.
You're the best.
I got used to last.
You're the best. Close my door, please. My mom's is the best sometimes. Yeah, so see that Weaver? I was barely hitting him for like moments there, and he just got lit the fuck up. So now we're just going to normal farming patterns. I want to get to the butterfly, and once I'm at the butterfly, it's going to be very, like I said, the Shadow Fiend was murdering me before. The reason why Shadow Fiend's a pain in the ass, and it's kind of the reason why you also want to get Vlad's, is because, one, he right-clicks like a motherfucker. He's hitting for, what's that, 380 right now? 380 damage? And he has the presence of the Dark Lord, which removes your armor. I discussed in one of the other videos how Antimage is a very low starting armor hero. Once you have a Vlad's, it kind of helps you in your mid-game if you ever have to man-fight him or something. And then, what else helps? Oh, my brain. Oh, right. And then when you get a B-Fly, that's about, I think it's 4 or 5 more armor. It's 35 agi, 7 agi per armor. That's, yeah, it's 5 more armor. So that pretty much negates his presence of the Dark Lord. Almost. You lose 1 armor, which isn't that big of a deal. Particularly compared to 6, obviously. That's just math, right? Anyway, once I get to that, he's also going to be missing 35% of the time. And, like, I know right now, at the progression I'm at, this is basically where the game is decided right here. Right after this fight, we are in control of this game 100%. I think they deny the Aegis in it. So we see this, and we're able to get there in more than enough time. So we got really, really good vision. So I'm just going to blink in and go, I think. As soon as that hits, I just blink on the SF, and he's not going to be able to ult, because he's just going to get bashed non-stop. Dead. Pretty sure. Ah, there we go, he denied the Aegis. I don't know if he did that on purpose or just fucked up. But either way, this is something they need to do 10 minutes ago. Like, right after they took the racks, get Aegis, and just march up. And we probably would have lost. But because they didn't and they left that window for us, I was able to split push successfully to the point where I had my Manta, which enabled us to defend a fight down here, right? God damn it. So I was able to split push. Still can't do it, huh? This fucking game. Okay, so I was able to split push after they took this mid-rack. I was able to split push, pressure them to come back, and delay them until I had a Manta, which won us a fight here after I was able to force a TP top. The game progressed a little longer. I was able to get a Basher and then punish the Mirana TP here, which turned into another huge team fight win down here. Which then eventually snowballed into them losing this Roche fight horribly. They were able to deny the Aegis, but we were able to just... At that point, we have complete control of the game. Like, I'm getting out of control. Our net worths... They're still ahead, but... And at this point in the game, like, based off how it feels, you know you're winning. Like, the net worth doesn't even matter. The experience is rebounded completely. I actually don't even know if that's going to cover what happened here. But yeah, I'm able to walk up. We're going to get another tower here, probably. Or unless I eat a fucking 5-second arrow again. Like a goddamn hero. I was so tempted to blink Abyssal Air. Just send a message. But you don't want to get arrogant at times like this. Because like I said, we're ahead, but it's like... It's presuming that I play well, we don't lose, right? At this point, you probably want to be saving for buyback. To keep the pressure for me, I'm probably just going to go for a B-Fly. I don't remember specifically. But basically, if I have the B-Fly, a lifesteal, like, they might have stun, but they're not going to have the damage. Even if I get stunned for, like, the full 7 seconds in a row, they're not going to collectively have the damage to really deal with me anyway. Or it would be very, well, maybe 7 seconds they might be able to, but that would literally have to be, like, perfect chain stunning and me be alone. And if I'm not alone, I don't think they can do shit. Yeah, again, they're experiencing the pain right now. Yeah, there's nothing you can do. But yeah, so after the B-Fly, your next item would probably be less important, so you definitely want to prioritize buyback. The thing is, I also look like if I spend all my gold, or most of my gold, and leave like some reliable, it won't take me very long to farm the required amount of gold to have my buyback. It's kind of like Alchemist Syndrome. You can get punished for that, but if it's in a game that's close, it's probably worth taking the risk. Or if you're in a game where you're really far ahead. Like in this game, I need to expand on that more. So, okay, if you're in a game where you're really far ahead, and that you dying from being very far ahead and not having buyback won't cost you a Rax, it's worth buying out. If you're in a game where you're so far behind, where your next item is really, really important, then you need to buy that item and hope that item enables you to live through a fight or win a fight. Because if you don't win or live through that fight and you have to buy back, then you're still going to be very far behind. I feel like there's probably a little better way to explain that. So, if you buy back and barely manage to win the fight, it leaves you in the same position of being very far behind and likely to lose. But if you're able to like finish a butterfly, and then you're able to just go in there and completely destroy someone, it's worth taking that risk because winning that fight puts you at a huge advantage for winning the game, right? Or coming back into a game from which you're very far behind in. Because now you have that item, you didn't waste on a buyback, and it still enabled you to win a fight. Basically, I'm saying if you think a butterfly, having a full butterfly would be equal to having a second life, or roughly equal, then obviously it's worth having a butterfly versus a buyback. Because a buyback's a one-time thing that comes with a negative connotation of now you don't have a buyback for the next 5 or 6 minutes. And now you also don't have an item. So assuming you think a second life or a butterfly will yield similar results in a fight, then obviously the butterfly is more beneficial. And even if a second life will give you like a 70% chance to win a fight, or 60, we'll say 60, 65% chance to win a fight, you think a bee-fly would have like a 35, 40% chance of winning that fight, the bee-fly can still be worthwhile because of how it sets up after that fight, right? Because obviously it's giving you another huge item. So that's stuff you want to consider when thinking about whether or not you want to buy back in a game where you're behind or really ahead. Because obviously if you die in a game you're really behind, you're going to lose a Rax. I just went full retard. Let's check this out. I think my hubris gets the best of me here. Yep, I got orchided. Yeah, he's failing to swap me. That's what happened. He's like, I don't know why it wouldn't work. I was trying to swap you. And he's just running back and forth. All I needed was a swap here and I live. Yeah, all 3 of them just fucking murdering me. That'll hurt. Oh yeah, that's not... Okay, so I was a little wrong. They didn't even need Chainstone, they just needed the silence. And it's still... Oh, that's because I didn't have the bee-fly. Oh, okay. This is something I was going to talk about in a later video about itemization. You know, when to complete of Vlads. I definitely over-complete Vlads because I've really like the farming pattern, but you can get most of that out of just having a headdress anyway, so... That probably doesn't really matter. But in a game where you're behind or really ahead, a decently timed travels, even when you're double booting it for a while, is really good because it allows you to... You know how I was doing those aggressive pushes? Like up to here, and I'd blink into the tree line, and then I'd TP back to base. Sometimes I'll TP to a tower if I think that's an okay thing, but if I'm doing something like really quick and really risky, I want to make sure I go back to base because I don't want to run into like a 4-second TP because someone else went there and I didn't realize it. And obviously you just double tap your TP scroll to end up back at base as opposed to looking for where you want to farm next. Unless you went there with the intention of going down there, then it's probably roughly the same time to do it. Anyway, with Boots of Travel, you do not have to worry about a 4-second TP because you don't ever get 4-second TPs with Boots of Travel. You only get the 2.5 because it doesn't have that punishment. The second big point is, like, let's say I'm pushing top lane, they all respond, I can TP to this creep wave right here. Instead of this tower right here, or this shrine, assuming it's still up, I can go right to the creep wave and start threatening their other racks while they're on the other side of the map. And that's fucking huge. Because now they're literally just chasing their tails trying to deal with you. This enables your team to farm out the whole jungle. Maybe they'll go secure Roshan or something because you're in really good shape. You know, there's many, many things you can do there. Or that having Boots of Travel opens up. To where I wouldn't even say, I don't think it's an item. You don't even need to sell your treads. I think treads are really good, particularly now that your illusions get the attack speed. Just mixing in full travels and tread swapping is really good. You need it for both of those. Earlier travels, just after your Manta or after your Abyssal Blade, can open up a lot of opportunities for you to get a lot more farm, play a lot more aggressively, get a lot more pickoffs, is what that's going to open up. And if you're against someone like an LC with a Shadow Blade, travels can be, if you have like a good sense of the game, travels can be a good way to avoid getting hit by those ganks, just because he has to literally predict where you're going and just wait there for you, which can lead to the enemy wasting a lot of time. And allowing you to avoid ganks by being able to TP aggressively and farm, because if you're trying to avoid getting ganked by someone like an LC or whatever, a big thing you can do is just like blink TP, or like a Bloodseeker too, right? Like you can just blink TP out away from where those people are. But by TPing, you're essentially going to go away from farm, and quick travels will allow you to blink TP towards your next farm rotation. And I'm not saying you TP directly to where the enemy creep wave is. I would go back to your previous creep wave, farm out the woods. Don't let them know where you went. Because, let's say it's mid lane, like they're going mid lane, obviously going all the way up to here would be pretty close. So you go back over to here like a second creep wave, farm out their woods, farm out your ancients or something, and then just go back to pushing normally as your travels are coming back up off cooldown. So yeah, that's generally how you'd want to do that. I feel like I didn't look at the specifics in this game enough, but like the broad strokes I think painted a pretty good idea. Like I said, at this point I feel like we're in the lead in this game. Yeah, the numbers even support it. And like since I felt like we're in a lead when we're 10k down, we're in a lead when we're 2,500 up. So we'll just watch the rest of it real quick and see if anything else occurs to me. Oh, maybe I'll talk about why I didn't buy a heart. Some people are like, oh, they blew me up. If I had a heart, I wouldn't have died over there, right? It's true, but if I went heart over Abyssal, we wouldn't have had that great fight where I picked off a Mirana, had an Ogre TP, and then we're able to win that fight. And a heart doesn't do that. A heart lets you jump in and be more tanky, but like they have the tools to destroy me, because if I'm more tanky, they still do a ton of damage. Like their damage output's nuts. Like 1,000 HP is like maybe 3 or 4 more auto attacks from like a Shadow Fiend, right? Because of his armor down aura, and then if this guy got like an AC, which he was working on or something, it wouldn't really be that substantial compared to what like a B-Fly and an Abyssal would give you. And I feel like a lot of games are like that, where like, why would I buy a heart? Like the new Abyssal change, I talked about this in a post online. No, it wasn't True Dota, I think. So, goddamn, I gotta slow this down so I can talk. This screen glitching's gonna piss me the fuck off. So, with the change to Abyssal Blade, where they removed... First they removed 15 damage, and then they removed another 85 damage, to where it went from being, like, the second highest damage item you can get, to, like, not really a damage item, more like a utility lockdown item. So it used to be where AM got a large source of his damage, and didn't really get any... You think you get, like, 6 or 10 strength from it. Now you get that, plus, like, a damage block and stuff. So basically it changed Abyssal Blade from being, like, a purely aggressive item with, like, stun and damage. A stun and huge damage. To where this item was, like, a no-brainer to get. To a semi-defensive item that allows you to get some pickoffs, but doesn't really give you the damage that the other Abyssal Blade gave you. So you want something else to supplement the damage. And since they kind of traded off that damage with survivability, it makes a heart less good, because it has like a level of redundancy with the Abyssal Blade now. Because the Abyssal Blade's giving you survivability, so you don't really need... obviously it's not giving the same... It's like a middle ground between like a heart and like a rapier, right? Like it doesn't give you as much damage as one, and it doesn't give you much survivability as the other. So it's kind of like a jack of all trades thing. So usually you'd want to iron out your items with... I've never bought a Daedalus. I could see it probably being decent as a last damage item, but usually I'll get an MKB to deter evasion, or counter evasion I think is coming. Like a Shadow Fiend, obviously he'll build evasion. Weaver has evasion in one of his talents. Okay, I'm a liar. He does not. What the hell? No, the Lifesteal has evasion in one of his talents. There we go. I knew in this game one of them had a freaking brain fart. I don't think he does he? Yeah. But yeah, it'll discourage him from... He's doing like a really high damage build. A Butterfly and then a Satanic would be a really nice progression for him. I don't even... Yeah, you could fit both of those in. Butterfly and Satanic would be a nice 2 last items, but now he'd have to go like Daedalus or MKB and Satanic, which is kind of more awkward. Or you can get Satanic Scotty, which I think is terrible, because getting a Scotty versus an AM is retarded. It just makes you a bigger mana void. So he's gonna... Once an AM blinks on a Shadow Fiend, he basically lost that, unless he has teammates to help him. I guess we'll... get to the end of this game. I mean, nothing really special happens. We just secure Roche and just annihilate them in team fights, and they can't do anything. Oh, their Ogre also disconnected, but it didn't matter at that point. The game's just done. Clockwork feeds, classic, classic. Solar Roshan, drop your Vlads. You usually want it when you know you're approaching your point of 6 slot. You want to direct one of your teammates to get a Vlads. I actually think on this team, funny enough, I know you have 2 melee heroes. I think Venge is the best Vlads carrier because it just kind of stacks with their aura, and it's just really nice to have. They're able to sort of farm more too because it gives her a little bit of lifesteal and some regen and shit. I think it's overall really good. Like, if I'm playing a support Venge, I'll get a Vlad's. If I have, like, a Drow on my team, or if we want some armor or whatever. I think it's really good. But yeah, the Invoker's fed out of his mind now, too. Whatever, we'll just jump to the end of the game. Oh, I think that's where I bistled. Did I bistle in? I think I did. Yeah, that's where I bistled into his tornado. Difference in XP. How did how'd they move back into the experience advantage? I guess it was from the feeding. Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of, I said it's a more advanced thing because this goes into like how to play like late game, and once you've gotten past like the laning phase, these are things you need. I bought a heart, huh? That's unusual. I don't usually do that. But I think it's because I knew they weren't going to be able to afford. I knew he wasn't going to B-fly anytime soon, so I was like, fuck it, I'll just make sure I don't die. And there was no real reason to get an Axe here. I guess it could have been okay. BKB would have been okay too. But I fucking so rarely get BKB on AM. But yeah, I guess I'm not really saying much anymore, so we'll just pause and recap over the basics of how you want to play from behind. You want to focus on split pushing. God, I have to do this thing again. Re-camera, pause. Can I draw now? Can I draw now? Okay, can only draw while it's playing. Alright. Alright, let's check that out. Yep, can only draw while it's playing. Okay, so I had a pretty decent start. I think I had 15-minute Battle Fury treads. The rest of my team shits the bed. We lose our axe at 18 minutes. You focus on split pushing, forcing the enemy to respond to you, which enables your team to take better fights, delays their push, and probably gets you a tower eventually. And you want to do that safely. You want to make sure you just never die, because you can't afford to fall behind as an anti-mage. You want to win these fights at your base, or to just win fights overall, you need to get to level 18 as fast as possible. That way you have your max level mana void, and you need a Manta. And once you have the Manta and the level 3 ultimate, you have really, really good tools to win a fight. Like, I can blink on the SF, I can blink on whoever and kill him. At that point, but before you have the Manta, the Lifestealer can man-fight you. After you have the Manta, he can't man-fight you. It's similar with the SF. If I jump on the SF and I Manta, he doesn't know which one to target, and he's just getting blown up while that's all going down. So once you have the level 18 and the Manta, you can fight very, very confidently. In fights in which you're behind. If you're not behind, you can fight confidently even without those things. As long as you're a little careful in how you fight. Just remember, when you're an anti-mage, even if you're doing well, once you blink in, that gives them like 5 whole seconds to kill you. Where you can't blink out. I mean, they can, if they're smart, they'll just like, actually die here? I don't know. It gives them 5 seconds to attack you before they would have had to stun you. So, like, they have an ogre, so I can feasibly be stuck in that area for, like, 7 seconds. Not counting, like, if I jump into a choke point and I have an easy arrow lineup, too, you can just bone yourself. So, like, you can play skirmishy in fights before that stuff, but once you have that, you're allowed, like, a higher degree of confidence knowing that whoever you go on's almost assuredly dead, unless they have a Lincoln Sphere. And if anyone else is near them when you go on them, they also get hosed. Because of the damage mana void's going to put out if you jump on a hero with a decently sized mana pool. And oh god, I'm forgetting something. Yeah, and then once you have that abyssal, it just opens up where they can't respond to you. And usually once you have that abyssal, or even just a basher, they'll have one time where they'll TP arrogantly, have like 1 or 2 people respond to you, like 2 supports they TP to Marana and an ogre. And then I immediately kill the Marana, and the Ogre comes in. And if I wanted to, I could have killed the Ogre, but it enabled me to TP back and deal with their fight and kill their cores instead. So overall, it was smarter not to kill the Ogre. But I could have killed the Ogre and taken the tier 2 as well there, which was definitely an option. But the point is, like, once you have that Abyssal, that is when you become a threat. So in a game when you're behind, the heart is probably going to be the wrong decision a lot of the time. Unless they have, like, if they have a Lina, it's probably... Lina is bad because she can take away the majority of your health with her pure damage Ags nuke. She can bring you to, like, half health with just that one ability. But yeah, the Abyssal is almost always the right decision as your item after Manta, just because it literally opens up winning team fights, split pushing really hard, and getting solo picks all over the place. Once you get those solo picks, it makes it really hard for the enemy team to group up. And it makes it really hard for them to split push, because, like I said, once I have the Abyssal in this game, no one's safe. Anyway, we're just gonna end it there. I mean, it's pretty obvious how this goes down. We're gonna win a fight and then kill their whole base. So we'll end this video here. I do apologize. I think I rambled a little bit too much, but this is a tutorial on playing from behind and just understanding the basic fundamentals of that.